friends, this is Anjali Krishnan, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Don Bosco College, Kottayam. Welcome to my paper, Critical Studies 2 with the Module 4 Subaltern Studies. So far, we had discussed about the term subaltern, the history of subaltern classes and subaltern historiography. Today, in this lecture, we shall look at Subaltern Studies group in detail. Subaltern Studies emerged around 1982 as a series of journal articles published by Oxford University Press in India. And it was a group of Indian scholars trained in the West wanted to reclaim or retake their history. So that was the beginning of Subaltern Studies group. And their main goal was to retake history for the underclasses, for the voices that had not been heard previous. Scholars of the subaltern hoped to break away from the histories of the elites and the Eurocentric bias of the current imperial history. So they wrote against the colonial legacy of the Cambridge school, which was again elite-centered, and they focused on subaltern in terms of class, caste, gender, race, language and culture. And they exposed the idea that there may have been political dominance, but not hegemonic. The primary leader was Ranajit Guha, who had written works on peasant uprisings in India. Another of the leading scholars of subaltern studies is Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, who draws on a number of theoretical positions in her analysis of Indian history, where she has used deconstruction, Marxism, feminism, etc. She was highly critical of current histories of India that were told from the vantage point of the colonizers, a story of the colony by British administrators. What she and other historians wanted was to reclaim history, give voice to the subjected people. According to the Subaltern Studies group, the new history is designed to be a contribution made by people by their own, independently of the elite. They did this by establishing a journal out of Oxford, Delhi, Australia, and called it Subaltern Studies, to write a history against the grain and restore history to the subordinate, to the subaltern, to the underclasses. So that was the main purpose, the mission behind Subaltern Studies group. Moving to subaltern theory. Subaltern theory takes the perspective of the other as the one who has had no voice because of class, caste, gender, etc. And this theory is based on deconstruction as Derrida has proposed it. It emphasizes that norms are established by those who are in power and it is imposed on the other. Subaltern theory, as reflected by Gayatri Spivak and Ranajit Guha, focuses on signifiers. So this branch of theory emphasizes the way in which the colonialist discourse has socially constructed the signifiers from the colonial language, giving no voice to the oppressed or the colonized or subjected people. Next we have Homi K. Bhabha, who focuses on the fact that ideas are always expressed in the dominant discourse, in which the oppressed or the colonized are not well versed, so that they are not as skilled at expressing their validity claims. Thus, he points out that the colonizers, the colonized people, are always in the act of mimicry. Mimicry, by which he means the poor imitation of the master discourse, the language, the colonial language. To sum up, aims of subaltern studies. The first one, rejection of elitist historiography. The second, narratives of the lower and subordinate classes. Next, consciousness raising of the subaltern and developing new methodology to adopt it. Thus, exposing myths of elite history and replacing them with roles of subaltern.